You haven't completely changed your diet. You still order the same coffee. You haven't suddenly started eating pizza every night. And maybe the number on your bathroom scale hasn't changed very much either. But one morning, you're getting dressed for work, and your favorite jeans feel tighter around your waist. You look in the mirror and think, where did this belly come from? If you're a woman in your late 30s or early 40s, you've probably heard the usual explanation. It's your hormones. But that's only part of the story, because what's happening inside your body involves muscle, sleep, activity, appetite, aging, and eventually changing reproductive hormones. And understanding that difference matters, because doing hundreds of crunches or drinking a belly fat detox tea won't solve the underlying problem. So let's go inside the female body and see what's actually changing. First, we need to understand what we mean by belly fat. The soft fat you can pinch under your skin is called subcutaneous fat. Think of it as the fat sitting underneath the skin. But deeper inside the abdomen is another type called visceral fat. That's fat stored around internal organs. A certain amount of body fat is normal and necessary. The concern is excessive visceral fat because it is associated with metabolic problems, including insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes, and cardiovascular disease. And here's something women often don't realize. Your waist can change even when the bathroom scale doesn't change dramatically. That means body composition, how much of your body is muscle versus fat, and where that fat is stored, can sometimes tell a different story from body weight alone. Here's where the internet gets the story wrong. You don't wake up on your 35th birthday with a broken metabolism, but beginning in adulthood, maintaining muscle becomes increasingly important. Muscle is metabolically active tissue. If you gradually lose muscle while also becoming less physically active, your daily energy needs may decrease. Now add real American life. 8 hours at a desk, a commute, kids, work deadlines, takeout because you're exhausted, Netflix at 10 p.m., and 6 hours of sleep before doing everything again. You don't have to suddenly start overeating enormous quantities of food for your body composition to gradually change. The Menopause Society notes that aging is an important driver of midlife weight gain, while menopause itself particularly influences where fat tends to accumulate, favoring the abdominal region. That's an important distinction. As women approach the menopause transition, estrogen doesn't simply switch off, it can fluctuate. Eventually, estrogen levels decline. Research increasingly suggests that this hormonal transition is associated with a shift toward more central, or abdominal, fat storage. A 2026 study comparing 325 premenopausal, perimenopausal, and postmenopausal women found lower lean mass and greater measures of central and visceral fat in postmenopausal women. Because this was an observational, cross-sectional study, it doesn't prove that menopause alone caused every difference, but it supports the broader pattern seen in previous research. So, when a woman says, "My body shape is changing even though my weight hasn't changed that much," that experience can be real. But estrogen isn't the only suspect. Sleep, muscle, physical activity, calorie intake, genetics, stress, and health conditions all matter too. So, what does many of us do next? Monday morning. That's it. No bread, no pasta, no dinner. I'm losing this belly. You drastically cut calories. The scale drops. Great. Except aggressive dieting can also cost you lean tissue. And that's exactly what you don't want as you move through your late 30s and 40s. The goal shouldn't simply be, how can I weigh less? A better question is, how can I reduce excess fat while protecting my muscle? Recent research in older women also suggests that waist reduction accompanying intentional weight loss may be meaningful, and researchers specifically emphasize physical activity, including strength training, and heart-healthy nutrition with adequate protein. So let's start with something you can do tomorrow morning. Not lemon water, not apple cider vinegar, not a detox. Change the structure of your meals. Instead of starting your day with only a sweet coffee and pastry, consider building breakfast around protein and fiber. For example, Greek yogurt with berries and nuts, eggs with vegetables and whole grain toast, or oatmeal combined with a source of protein and fruit. For lunch or dinner, imagine dividing your plate roughly like this: a generous portion of vegetables, a source of protein such as fish, chicken, eggs, beans, lentils, tofu, or another protein you enjoy. A fiber-rich carbohydrate such as beans, potatoes, brown rice, or whole grains. And healthy fats from foods such as nuts, seeds, avocado, or olive oil. You don't need a magical, hormone-balancing food. You need an eating pattern you can actually maintain. And here's the home remedy I'd choose over a detox drink. Prepare tomorrow's breakfast tonight. It isn't glamorous, but sustainable habits beat miracle drinks. If you're only doing cardio, consider adding resistance training. You don't necessarily need a gym. At home, depending on your health and fitness level, that could include chair squats, wall push-ups, resistance band rows, step-ups, or lifting manageable dumbbells. Start at an appropriate level and progress gradually. A 2025 randomized trial in inactive postmenopausal women with overweight or obesity tested 8 weeks of home-based, equipment-free interval exercise, with or without a Mediterranean-style diet. Both exercise groups had reductions in weight, BMI, and waist circumference compared with the control group, although the study was small and involved postmenopausal women rather than women in their late 30s. So don't interpret that as a magical 8-week formula. The larger lesson is much simpler. Your muscles need a reason to stay. Give them one. Here's another habit that costs nothing. After dinner, instead of immediately sitting on the couch, walk for 10 minutes. Around your neighborhood, around your apartment building, even around your home. Think of it as an easy way to break up sitting and add movement to a day that may otherwise be very sedentary. Then build toward the amount of weekly aerobic and strength activity recommended for your health and ability. You don't need to burn off dinner. Movement is not punishment for eating. It's something your body was designed to do. Now ask yourself, how much are you sleeping? Because if you're surviving on 5 or 6 hours, you're trying to improve your health while one hand is tied behind your back. Create a boring bedtime. Yes, boring. A consistent sleep schedule, a darker, cooler bedroom, less late-night alcohol, and less doom scrolling in bed. If you're waking repeatedly because of night sweats, anxiety, snoring, or other symptoms, don't simply accept poor sleep as adulthood. Find out why it's happening. Because this takes us directly to our second topic, perimenopause. One more important point. If you're gaining weight rapidly without an obvious reason, or the change occurs alongside symptoms such as major menstrual changes, unusual fatigue, constipation, feeling unusually cold, excessive hair growth, or other new symptoms, don't automatically diagnose yourself with hormonal belly. Conditions such as thyroid disorders and PCOS can affect weight and metabolism. Medications can matter too, and if your abdomen is actually becoming distended or swollen, especially with persistent pain, bowel changes, vomiting, abnormal bleeding, or feeling full unusually quickly, don't assume you're looking at fat. Get it evaluated. So why does belly fat become more stubborn as women move through midlife? There's no single villain. It's an interaction between aging, muscle, movement, sleep, food intake, genetics, and, as menopause approaches, changing hormones and fat distribution. Don't declare war on your body. Build muscle, eat well, move more, sleep better, and pay attention to changes, because your body isn't betraying you, it's changing. And understanding those changes gives you much more power than another detox ever will. Because understanding what's changing inside your body is the first step toward doing something useful about it. Stay connected.